neighbors, this is Steve over in Space 58. Many of you know that Cindy and I have been full-timing in RVs for about 10 years now. And over the years, we've learned a lot from our fellow RVers, things that the dealers never told us, things that really you only learn from experience or from your neighbors. And anyway, the other day I was down in the office talking with Dennis and made a comment that I was changing the anode in our water heater and flushing it. And his question was, what for? I said, well, one is you have a sacrificial anode in that water heater. I don't know about you, I mean, water heaters are fairly expensive, and I'd rather not have to replace a water heater if I could just use some simple maintenance, something that should be done probably once a year and only takes 15-20 minutes to do. So we went over to his trailer and pulled the anode out. He had, where is this? We pulled that out. Another neighbor walked by and asked, what are you guys doing? And we said, we're flushing the water heater and changing out the anode. He goes, huh, I didn't know anything about those. So we went and we'll actually show Les changing his out. And they had a couple other neighbors come in and ask. So we're making the quick video on how to do that. What we're talking about are these. This is a sacrificial anode that sits inside most of your water heaters. And the idea is very similar to a zinc on a boat, that you end up with the minerals, electrolysis and all, and you'd rather have it eat away at a sacrificial anode as opposed to eat away at your water heater lining. And they're really fairly easy to change out. What you need is an anode, and there's a couple of different sizes depending on which water heater that you have. You need some kind of a wrench, a socket, to be able to go ahead and take the anode out. This is 1 1/16" for the large anode. There is a 7/8 size for the smaller. And then some kind of a flushing wand to put in the hole where the anode was. And they come in different sizes, different shapes. There's a fairly inexpensive one that can be bought off Amazon or almost any camping supply store. I actually prefer, for doing more of these, the larger wands. The process is really simple. What you end up doing is you shut off the power to your water heater. So generally done at the circuit breaker box, or if you have a switch, just turn it to off. You don't want the heating element to heat up while you don't have water in there. And usually let your water heater cool down a bit. Then what you do is you turn off the water to the RV, because you don't need more water going into the water heater while you're cleaning it. And then what you end up doing is you take a wrench, a socket, you undo the anode, pull that out, you put a wand in there and flush it out, and you'll see all sorts of sediment, chunks of debris coming out of that. And then you take a new anode and you put Teflon tape around and put it in, fill the water heater up with water again, and you're good to go. Again, doing that is going to help your water heater be more efficient. You don't need the sludge and all in there, and it's going to help protect it. So in a bit, we're going to go over to Les's RV, and we're going to check that out and show you step by step how we do that. Les is space number 16, and we're going to go ahead and change out the anode and flush out the water heater. So far what he's done is he shut off the power to the water heater, shut off the electricity as well as the propane going to it so it won't turn on. We shut off the water to the trailer. We have a second hose for flushing everything out. And he's already bled off the water pressure inside. So from there, we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's the water heater compartment, and Les is going to go ahead and get started flushing this thing out. Okay, the anode is located at the very bottom, and 1 1/16" socket will undo that, and water will start coming out as soon as he loosens that. And then once he gets the anode out, he'll go ahead and open the pressure relief valve on the top and let the water come out a lot quicker. Okay, and there's the anode that came out. And you're getting a bunch of junk coming out as well. Okay, we're going to go ahead and let that drain out, then we'll start flushing. Let's take a look at the anode that came out. And you can see where it's getting all eaten up in there, so it's time to replace that. Yep. We've got the wand on the end of the hose, and he's going to put that in and either get a bunch of sludge out of the bottom You can see that we're getting some of the calcium deposits coming out. So just looking at some of the water coming out, there is a lot of sludge in the bottom, along with some other mineral deposits. So this is something that should be done once a year to keep that sucker working well. So our park manager, Dennis, stopped by to inspect the work. What's your comment as it deals with that?
I'm like, wow, holy shit, this needed to be done. Needs to be done yearly.
Yeah, that one is almost completely eaten away at the end on there.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, you can get these anodes, they're usually less than $15
Yeah, they're like 15
on that. So we're going to put the new one in.
So we're back after doing Les's water heater. Was interesting, the other day one of our other neighbors came up and said, you know, he just checked his anode and replaced it. This is what his was like. And you can see that it's completely eaten up on this end, and this is all the stuff that was getting into the water. So again, once a year, it's fairly easy to do. And if it's not something you want to do yourself, get with Dennis. There's probably individuals here in the park that can assist you with that. I understand many don't have the tools to be able to do that. Hey, we're here to help.
Next, we end up having the wand on the end of it, and what Les is going to do is insert that in there and turn the water on and flush the thing out. If there's been a bunch
That's all, folks.